Hi, John.
Hey, how you doing?
Where are you now?
Scarborough.
Get around.
Well, I'll have an announcement at the end of the meeting to
Yeah, okay.
clarify things.
Glad you could be here anyway.
It's a good group.
Melissa, do you want me to, I'm assuming you're going to run it, but if you're not feeling good, I'm happy to go
No,
through your
I'm-
agenda. Oh,
I'm,
no, he is.
fine.
Okay, good.
Steve will chair.
yeah. Okay, so let's see. I have to say a little inclination before, but we're going to have a hybrid meeting. And we've got two people remote, John and Melissa. And we've got the other two members here in front of the camera at Town Hall. And we have two guests from the,
And you have,
huh?
and you have Ryan Curley as a guest.
Oh, Ryan. Hi, Ryan. Not too good. So I think we've got everybody introduced. How about we start the meeting? Let me get my agenda out. Call to order. Call this meeting to order. Meeting of the Rights Public Access Committee, Friday, August 26th at 2 p.m. And we're broadcasting from Town Hall. First order of business is to approve the minutes from July 12th. I believe everybody except you guys got a copy of it a while ago. And John, you had a concern because we apparently misquoted you. You remember that concern?
No,
Well, I'll read it to you. Regarding Chipman Cove Southeast, and Melissa said basically low priority because not used and other access points exist. I didn't actually specify in the minutes that it was Melissa that said that. And then you said if I referred to CCSE, it was a mistake. I only wanted to raise the issue of CC Southwest, which
I think I'll just drop that complaint. I was corrected on the difference between the nomenclature of Southeast and Southwest, or we'll go with Southeast and let the minutes stand as written. As far as I'm.
Okay. Okay. Because there is that whole thing, Southwest that Nancy, you found out. No, that's not Southwest. Okay, never mind.
Could I
Yeah.
intercede here?
Yeah.
Could I request that the minutes be read in
Okay,
the previous meeting?
that's, I can do that. 6 pages. Sure you want?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna read the minutes from the previous meeting, which was July 12th, 2000. Committee members present, all in person, Melissa Liao, Steve Blanchard, Stanley Puffer, and guest via Zoom, Nancy Savetta. Meeting was called to order by Melissa Yao. Welcome new committee member Stanley Puffer. Project review. Review of projects undertaken by the committee. This will also help Stanley get up to speed. Melissa said for the most part, these projects are on hold. And then I included in the minutes the whole list of projects. First one being the Lieutenant Island Boathouse.
If I may, Steve, sorry. I think in the interest of time, maybe, have you read them, Stanley?
Yes, I believe I might have, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Have you read them, John?
Yeah,
Well, I
he
wasn't
complained
actually
about it.
at the meeting, so I'm gonna have to not vote.
Okay. I read them. I feel like in the interest of time, maybe we should,
Yeah, it's 6 pages. It'll take me a while to read it. But the projects, I can just give the headings on the projects. Lieutenant Island Boathouse, Lieutenant Island Osprey Nest Way 100, Lieutenant Island Southwest Meadow Avenue, Lieutenant Island Puddle, Indian Neck Omaha Road, Indian Neck Field Point, King Philip Road, Chipman's Cove, Richmond Lane. And that was the end of the list of projects. And I had organized our commentary on each of those. And then I mentioned that John had submitted a list of concerns of his, and Melissa said, we either have covered the topics or we will next. And Melissa wants to prioritize the projects that we have to work on that are not on hold. And we had lots of discussion about projects, passion projects. We could pick our passion projects. And by the time we got to the end of all that discussion, Melissa wound up with sand pullout and Lieutenant Island Northwest Corner. I wound up with Dyer Pond and Herring River. John, you wound up with Chipman's Cove Southeast, and we aren't quite, that's the thing that you were wondering about, and Old Wharf. And Stanley, you wound up with Herring Pond. You did a good job on that. And the hot, how do you pronounce that? The
Hot
Bluffs Road. And the rest of the agenda was put off. And Nancy, you recommended a position put to the Community Preservation Act to purchase Aggers Road. That was a while ago. And Melissa, you did talk to the town administrator, Ryan Curley, about our PAC, and they want to create some support for us within town hall and the select board. We have no budget now, but TA thinks we should have one, and the idea of creating a nonprofit was discussed to do some outreach to the community. Dan asked for a list of access points, and Melissa will send him links to the information on the shared Google Drive. Nancy sent some information for us about the Echeverria report and the CPC guidelines. She was thanked for her research efforts. And motion to adjourn passed, and I submitted the minutes. Is that good enough?
Good enough.
Okay,
Motion made to accept the minutes as read.
Second,
okay, good, thank you.
Good.
Motion's been made and seconded that the minutes be accepted as is. And now we go on to Herring Pond.
You have to vote.
I think we need a,
Okay, how about a vote on approving the minutes? John, you said you're going to abstain?
abstain.
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Melissa? No, that's 3. Is that good enough? I think so. 5 members, that's quorum. Okay, now can we go to Herring Pond? And Melissa, would you kind of tell us what you were thinking of at Herring Pond? Where was there, are you talking about the access, public access to it?
yeah, I think Stanley's taken the lead on this one. Do you wanna talk about Herring Pond, Stanley?
Yes, all right. I'll summarize it, in the interest of time. Basically, I ended up going to the National Seashore, and I got in touch with a person by the name of Bill Burke. And let me just refer to my notes here. And Bill Burke is the he's a cultural resources program manager, and he put me into another person by the name of Laurel McKean. And Laurel McKean is basically the park planner for the Cape Cod National Seashore. And I identified myself. I told her who I was, and I expressed my concern about that access that we used to use back when I used to live here. We used to have a launch canoe over there at Herring Pond, and basically now there's 2 pillars up there that say private property. And I asked her that basically as it's classified as a Great Pond, and underneath the Great Ponds Act, Massachusetts, government of Massachusetts basically owns the pond, and you're supposed to provide public access to that. And her reply was that basically the path that I returned to is private property. There's no designated town landing. Public access is not denied. There are several access points that we monitor for shore erosion. And then I asked her basically, where are these access points that, and she wrote me back. She says there's no designated formal access points. It's just that the land is public. And she also told me there is a short boardwalk to the right of private access that you mentioned. Well, the private access that I mentioned, basically there's a parking lot off of Black Pond Road where you can park your car. There's also a path, I guess, to the northwest that you can walk down that, and there's a bridge that goes across the Huron River. And it is access there. I continued on, I went back on the road and I drove back to Schoolhouse Road, because Black Pond intersects Schoolhouse Road, and went down that road. And there was a survey done years ago, pond management plan, which was back in 2011. I believe I sent everybody an email on that.
Mhm.
And they referred to the access point as far as Heron Pond, that there was an access, but what this access was basically yes by boat, and they're referring to that stream that goes from Higgins Pond into Herring Pond. So I drove past there, I drove past the stream, I took pictures of it, and right now it's pretty well dried up.
Mm.
I continued on Schoolhouse Road, coming back to Gull Pond Road. And as I drove, I noticed another parking area. I parked up there, and there's two paths. One path goes up and over to Higgins Pond, and the other path, where you can see it runs downhill, but you have to go down to the end. There's a path that goes to Heron Pond that I believe you can probably have access to that with a canoe or a kayak or whatever.
Mhm.
And also I sent you people a map, and I also sent you people some
Photograph.
photographs and stuff like that, if anybody has any questions on that.
Is that, Melissa, is that you putting up the map?
Yeah,
Right,
this is great. Thank you, Stanley.
you're welcome.
Good job. So the thing you were just talking about is the lower right corner there.
Right, is the lower
Yeah.
right corner. There's an arrow pointing north. As to where that is.
Isn't that where they do the herring count too? I think I've been down there.
Yeah,
Don't they
it's
do
quite
that?
possibly maybe down at that bridge. We used to be able to take a canoe, you'd go from Gull Pond into Higgins Pond and through that stream, and then we'd connect over here to that, to the Heron River, and you used to be able to go to the Heron River dike.
Now, do they do the herring count at the, toward Higgins Pond, or they
Yeah,
do
I
it coming
thought-
into?
I thought, you know how you say there's those two parking spots on the Higgins Pond side of
Right,
Schoolhouse? I think it
Right.
was Schoolhouse. wherever it
Yeah.
was. And then if this is that Higgins there?
that's Higgins there.
And then I just remember walking down and somebody said to me, oh yeah, this is where they do the herring count. So it's like, walking in, it looked like kind of there, if this is Schoolhouse, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
And then, and it kind of goes down like a little tiny promontory, which probably looks pretty big now without any water in the brook
yeah.
that connects them, the little stream that connects those two.
I imagine though, they'd probably do it over that bridge because they have a barricade across that stream so that none of the fish can return and get oxygen starved. They're trapped up in there.
Oh, okay. So
From
yeah,
what I
maybe it's closer to
understand.
the bridge.
I can make a comment. I've been involved in the herring count for some time. The actual herring count is done down at Old Kings Highway. There's another little bridge across the Herring River there. The place that's called Pond Access off Schoolhouse Hill Road is used by the park when they're taking water samples out of Herring Pond. As far as I know, that's the only use. It's not a very user-friendly access. I think if you're looking for a place where the town might provide a public access, it would be off Black Pond Road, where you there is an actual parking lot and a little sort of footpath out to the edge of the pond, which as far as I know has only been used by fishermen, but there may be some kayaking as well.
Well, that I believe I sent a picture. Is that the one with the two pillars that say private property?
Right, and there was a period of time I got pretty excited because the private property signs disappeared, but then they came back.
Right,
At one time, I did try to contact the owner who lives on the other side of Black Pond Road uphill, but got no response. So this was 10 years ago.
yeah. Well, before those ponds were there, I'm talking maybe 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That we used to access that. The only thing is on the Schoolhouse Road, if you go to the other end of that, to the eastern side of the pond, if you want to drive that road, you're gonna need a four-wheel drive because of the erosion up there.
There is in terms of the bridge over the east end of Herring Pond, that's called Patience Brook. After a woman who lived during the early days of Massachusetts. And the seashore is a project to repair that bridge. Which
Right,
obviously they haven't gotten very far on.
right.
Is that this one?
No, that's this one right there where he's pointing to the east of it.
This
It goes over Schoolhouse Road
Okay,
right
yeah,
there.
yep,
Yeah, pretty sure that's what you're referring to.
okay.
The question that I have, basically under the Great Ponds Act, where the Commonwealth of Massachusetts owns the ponds. And it's also landlocked by the National Seashore. Does that mean the National Seashore actually controls those ponds? That when they acquired the land, did they also acquire the rights to the ponds too?
I don't believe so.
Because the government supersedes the state.
I think I think the state still controls the pond.
All right,
Could ask town council to verify that, but
Yeah.
that's always been my understanding.
all right. Does anybody have any questions? Move on.
Yeah, thank you, Stanley. And one action item is to check with town council to find out if the town still does own Herring Pond.
Not the town, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
I'm sorry,
owns
the
it.
Commonwealth,
It's a great
and the
pond.
town has to, can the town provide a landing? There is some of that road, some of that property northwest is I don't know whether it's I don't have the right map in front of me. Anyway, we'll do some research on that. Stanley will do some research on that, and maybe we can actually cajole the town into putting in some kind of an official landing with parking spot off of what was the name of the road? Brown.
Black Pond,
Lord
Black
Pond,
yeah, I think that's the best,
Yeah, I think. I
that's the
remember
best
looking at-
location.
Yeah, I remember looking at the assessor's map up there, and I believe there is some unaccounted for properties. But anyway, that's to be continued.
okay.
Next was Nahat Bluff Road, and you were going to try and do that too, right?
Yeah.
Find out anything?
Nahat Bluffs Road, basically, I went up there to the area and I looked and I saw there no parking. I also talked to a resident who was there. And she told me that there used to be no parking signs there and then they were taken down and they were put back. And the reason why they're put back, because there's a problem with the vehicles, what they do, they park, they park in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
So they were worried that basically if they ever have a fire truck or some other damn thing come through there, that they're gonna have a problem with the access.
Yeah.
So they, I guess, talked to somebody and they got no parking signs put back up. But on that Not Bluffs Road, that end of Chipman Cove is only open seasonal, right, Nancy?
It's open from the last Sunday in October until April 30th.
Right, so basically, you don't have to worry about the summer influx, and I believe that the present homeowner gave permission for somebody to park there on his property. Or at least that you could park there and you wouldn't squawk too much about it.
I don't know. I just noticed that there were so I started here 5 years ago and there were never no parking signs.
Right,
And then last summer, at the end of the summer, I saw them.
all right,
I didn't know how they got there or why.
well, that's how they got there.
Yeah.
But
Is there anybody up there that is living year round?
the woman I talked to, I'm not sure if she's living there or not. She was in the area.
Mhm. because I think we've been going on the assumption that they're all seasonal. And when the oyster beds are open, doesn't make a difference. There isn't gonna be
Right.
anybody there. Of course, there still might be a fire and the fire truck might have to get.
But when shell fishermen always park like all the way over to the right, they never block. Because there's sometimes more than one of them, and then they all have to be able to turn around and get out of there, so.
Another question, Camp Marvin, I don't know, but that used to be across the pier.
Yep.
Is there any access that shellfishermen can get access into that area?
That's the
Where Camp
Richmond
Marvin used
Lane
to be?
one. That's the Richmond Lane one that's on your discussion list, and the current owner, Mark Strauss, always let people park, he wanted people to park on the right-hand side, so everybody
Right.
followed those rules. And then he only wanted people to access through the direct path there, not cut across in front of his property, and people did that, but he allowed that access, and now that property's up for sale. Mark is selling it.
Mm,
And you haven't been able to contact the new
I
owner
have
yet?
not, no, I don't think it's sold yet.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
The
so it's still something
almost
that's,
new owner.
yeah,
Okay, and you called it camp something?
it was,
Used to be Camp Marvin.
Okay, so now
That was
it's a
back in
gallery of some kind.
I think that went out back in the 70s. That used to be right across from the town pier.
Okay.
do you know who you spoke with there? Was her name Sharon?
I don't know who she was.
Okay.
She happened to be in the area and I asked her about it.
Stanley, is this the parking area right here?
There's one, I took some pictures. Let's see.
Nancy, have you been down there?
Yeah.
Is this it?
I think it's more, move your cursor down to the bottom. It's like NAU. It's to the right of NAU. No, see where the actual road is. See, that's the thing, is that I wonder if it's on the road. And so if it's not on somebody's private property, then why are there signs up?
Is that it?
That's what I'm wondering. Now, it's like, this is a really bad screen. Like, can you choose a different base camp?
Yeah.
It's not clear.
Yeah, I'll go into Oliver.
Okay. You might have an Oliver choice there. I don't remember.
That's pictures that I took. On the
Other
parking
than no
lot,
parking.
yeah. Parking lot there. This is where I parked. This is on the guy's property. This is the access that goes down to the shoreline.
Yeah.
And,
Can you repeat that, holding it up to the camera?
yeah.
There.
The camera. Can you see that?
Kind of.
Kind of.
It's because she's sharing her screen, so
Yeah.
then you're probably that big.
All right.
They're just the two photos?
No, there's actually three.
Okay.
That's the picture of basically where I parked, which is right next to the house. And that's my car there. We parked in the parking lot. But there's also parking on that other side of that. That's on the left-hand side of the road. And then the last one is basically this one here, which is an extension of that not Bluffs Road, and basically there's a car park there, which is what she was squawking about. It's got the roadway pretty well blocked off. So if there was ever an emergency where they had to get a fire truck in there, there might be some problems.
Can I see that picture?
Yeah.
please? So
Does
I
that
don't
road
see
go
the no,
around and
I don't
loop?
see the no parking sign there. Like, so when that ends, then it turns into a very small dirt road / driveway that goes up and around. So, but the parking area is a little bit before,
Right.
like,
That's where the parking area is right there.
Yeah, but there's two signs.
Right.
So is she parked on the other side of the sign or
She's
is the other
parked on
sign
that
this
other
way?
side of the
Is the
sign.
sign there?
Right.
Oh, not back here. Okay,
No. They're all on the right-hand side of the road,
right.
not on the left-hand side of the road.
Okay, have we done the Hot Bluff Road? There isn't, go ahead, John.
I was just wondering sort of what the next step is. It sounds as though, as a suggestion, we should have a consultation with the owner, find out what they can accept, what they won't accept, and then make sure that that information is passed on to the shellfishing community.
I agree.
Okay,
I'm just, looking at maps is fun, but I'd like to see us do something.
yeah. Is there a homeowners association in that area? It's got a couple on some of the maps that shows the name.
I can find the owner here. But I haven't been down there myself. Nancy, can you see on this?
Yeah, that's kind of where, well, I need to know the name of so I think this is McNamara, the one that's 131. What's 135? Can you see the owner of 135?
Yeah, it's McNamara.
All right. Either that or the one next door where you get the beach access. Yeah,
This is the
135. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. So maybe it is McNamara. Who's 131? Okay, yeah. All right, so let's go back to the map for a minute, the good map. All right, so 131 and what, yeah. I'm pretty sure it goes through the McNamara property.
Oh,
And then the parking area is kind of, it's either on like McNamara, see how McNamara goes all the way over to the other side, or it might be 168 in Hot Bluff. I guess I'd have to go back down there and be more precise. I should have done it before the meeting.
No,
I'm
I should have done it.
looking at this road and basically where it makes its bend. Over here, I'm at 125. I'm looking at the way the road's laid out. And it looks like probably 2/3 of that parking lot where I parked, it looks like that's probably the town road. Whether or not that's a public road or not. Whereas this is on the left side, whereas to the right side, that's all private property.
Okay,
All right.
so how can we get moving on this?
Well, does anybody ever have a problem parking there or gaining access, been thrown out or anything else?
Not to my knowledge.
All right, so. why
It's
don't we-
just that I saw these signs go up when they had
Right.
not been there, and that is a place that gets used for parking, so
Yeah,
I just wanted us to look into it.
okay. I
it's
guess if
pretty
it's possible,
open.
then park on the left-hand side.
Yeah, they park on the left-hand side, like right where there's those signs are.
No, the signs are on the right-hand side.
That's right. Oh, I meant the right, sorry,
Yeah.
right-hand side. That's where they park.
All right.
Can you?
But maybe it's a
Nancy,
non-issue.
Could you tell who put up the signs, or is that something we still need to identify?
Well, I imagine somebody from the town department would have to put up the signs.
Yeah, I can find out if the DPW did. But I
Okay.
think that if there's really not a lot of year-round homeowners down there, then I'm not gonna worry about it.
I don't
We
thi- I don't-
use other access in the off-season. And that person, whoever it is, has never said anything about people accessing Chipman's Cove from the path next to the right, to the left of their house. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think probably leave it alone until it does become an issue.
Yeah,
Very good.
that's a good
So-
point, just that, you know, it's
So
not
sweeping,
gonna overlap with people.
Right,
sweeping it under the carpet.
Okay, thanks for looking into it, though,
okay, thank you.
Stanley.
Okay, next is Herring River access, the sand pullout in parcel 19-100. And Nancy, it was you that kind of uncovered that, right?
Yeah, so, was it the last meeting that, it just came up that there was this other access? And I looked into it with, Harry Turkanian, who sent me the grant of access easement, registered with the Barnstable Land Court. And this is a piece of property that the town bought for $130,000. If you guys were able to see what I sent
I
around,
didn't think they did that. I think all they bought was the
the easement.
I mean, but it does say on one place, yes,
The
130,000,
following was
but
voted
then-
out.
but then they all voted on just the easement. you know?
Oh, I see, as opposed to voice vote, accept an easement.
Right.
Okay, so,
I
So it
don't
doesn't-
recall the town spending $130,000 on it.
in 2013,
Yeah. 'Cause
Is
That's,
that-
that's what Harry Turkanian wrote about.
Is this house on Chequesset Neck?
yeah,
That's up, it's, so you have to drive down. If you look, I'm looking towards the right, there's a road that used to go down there. And you drive down to that house. That's
yeah,
the
that's
access
somebody's
road.
private property.
Right,
That road that you're seeing, it's a driveway.
right,
Yeah, that's private property, and that person has expressed non-willingness to have shellfishman access there.
all right,
So I guess I don't, all I know is that what we have, June 4th, 2013, this was voted on, the following was voted, accept an easement.
And then.
Okay,
some
so,
of the
yeah.
other documents actually. Okay,
Yeah, yep. So we went over there, and it's absolutely been taken over by the homeowners. There's a fence blocking access. They've done plantings there. The document says, there's a couple of things. So first of all, you can have foot traffic, but you cannot carry a boat or a canoe or a kayak or anything down there. So it's really, you know, if the shellfishman had a fish tote, or if a fisherman had a rod and a cooler or something like that, that's all fine, but no types of boats or paddle boards or anything can go across this easement. It says that it can only be used a half an hour before sunrise to a half an hour after sunset. There's no parking and no motor vehicle access. And it says that the grantor agrees to maintain and repair the seawall and agrees not to remove any vegetation in the easement area except as necessary for the use and enjoyment of the easement. So, which the parties agree may include the construction of stairs. So either, you know, they were supposed to basically keep that 5-foot wide swath of path accessible. And it's not now, and their stairs are not, it's all fenced in. So I don't know, I mean, the next step would be to, I guess, maybe ask town council, what are our options with the homeowners, so that we're making sure that we're making good first steps. And, you know, whether they need to let us use their stairs or whether they would construct a second pair of stairs. But that, you know, that access needs to be given back.
where
Town
is
council.
this? Where's this piece of property located?
It's just
Right
a
in
little further
between
down.
915 and 925 to Crescent Neck Road.
I see 915.
So it's a little strip right down that line, as far as I can tell. It's not shown on this map.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
pointing to
It's
it.
shown on,
I'm pointing to it with my cursor.
Oh, right there.
And I think John Dwayne has a question.
I was just gonna, yeah, through the chair, I would say that the reason this came about is because the golf course owned the strip of land where that set of stairs is located. It used to be two separate parcels. And there was a strip that just had the staircase on it. And as part of when the owners, Pierce, I believe is their name, wanted to rebuild the staircase, they needed to get permission, and because it was not on their land, either they wanted to buy the piece of land that had the staircase on it so that they could have it for themselves, or they wanted to just have permission to rebuild the staircase. And part of the way that the law works is when the golf course, when somebody wants to sell that property, the golf course wanted to sell that property, somebody could buy it, but the town has the right of first refusal on that piece of land to buy it. And I honestly forget why it came in front of our board, but it was one of these situations where the town had the right to purchase a piece of land that was being sold. The Pierces had already negotiated a price for it. And because they had the right of first refusal, we had the right to buy it as a town. And instead of the town paying $130,000 for the piece of land, the Pierces granted the easement forever so that the public could use that. They had resisted it's basically their staircase for their house, and that's the way they had treated it. But it was in fact on the golf course property, so they needed to do something. And what they agreed is that they would maintain the staircase, and they would allow people to walk down the staircase to get to the water, which language is spelled out in the deed that Harry Tricanian is familiar with. And that was how they worked it out, so that the town had the easement to get through there. The town didn't need to pay for the piece of land, and the Pierces now own the land. I believe they've been combined together now with their house.
I see that now on the property card. Thank you very much, John. The Pierces bought it for 130 on
Right.
July 8th, 2013. Thanks.
There you go.
And so I don't know when that fence went up, but the Douglases bought it in 2020.
Probably since then. I mean, I haven't been over there in quite a while, but it was even tough to get down there years ago. And that's probably new because they're probably trying to dissuade people from going over it, even though legally you're allowed to.
Fence would dissuade people.
Well, the good thing is the house is under major construction right now. So if we can act quickly, then while they still have contractors, over there, then maybe they can, make this right.
Maybe we should reach out to Harry Tricanian and the town administrator.
Yeah, that's who I got all this from. Let me see if I can find Harry's email quickly. I think we should figure out, asking town council what would be the appropriate next steps.
Mhm.
So this is what Harry says. The town acquired a 5-foot wide easement along the southerly side of lot L1 on land court plan. The current deed is registered as land court document. The easement is for public uses of Wellfleet Harbor, is limited to daylight hours. Nancy Bell can get you a copy of the easement, which is what I then sent you guys, and the attached sketch showing its location. It's worth looking at the easement document to be sure you understand the scope of the easement and its limitations.
But there's a fence there now. Are you sure of that? I mean, do you?
Oh, yeah, we went today again.
And how do you know which 5 feet is that 5 feet?
Well, that's, we might need to get the, what do you call it? The survey of that property, which we can probably get from the Conservation Commission and find out if we can get some GPS points. I can go with my GPS and know within 10 feet.
Probably 10 feet's not good enough to find a 5 foot. right
But
away.
it would tell us a little bit where we
Yeah,
are
yeah.
in
Yeah.
terms of the right area.
Yeah.
Between the two properties. There is a stake that like a cement pillar there, kind of almost flush to the ground. I did see that.
You did see that?
Yeah, and I took a
And- and
picture
we
of that.
And that would probably be a monument on either side of the L1, probably the southern side. You're saying a square thing, like
Yeah.
a monument?
Surveyor's
Concrete.
marker.
Concrete.
Well, I don't.
Yeah, so that would be on the, basically the plot
I
plan.
only looked at one, but we could certainly go back and look around at
Does
other
that have a
markers.
little plate on it, or? is
It did not.
So it's just concrete? Monument.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nancy, John, it looks like it's fairly steep. Is that something that would be a practical use to the shellfishing community?
I think that it got used all the time before. Barbara Austin is, furious about this because that was a way that they went to the water. And there were stairs there and that people used the stairs.
Okay,
Back in the
answered my
day,
question. That's fine. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah,
back in the day, about 30 years ago, we used to go shellfishing in the Heron River, and that's how they were mainly similar people. We'd park in the lot and walk down the stairs and
yep,
gain access and bring our catch up the stairs.
yep. I mean, now there's that new that new parking lot a little bit further down on the right-hand side that people could use, or the sand pullout people could use, but whereas the sand pullout, here we are trying to figure out a way to get perhaps an easement for the town over that. And we have one just slightly to the west.
Okay, next step is to go to town council and find out what our next steps are.
Yeah,
Could we send a registered letter to basically the homeowners and tell them that basically they're in violation of whatever?
well,
With the
I
town
just,
council, or
We let town council.
try
do
Yeah.
to
that,
talk nice to them?
yeah, I mean, I definitely think we try and talk nice, but
Well,
I
yeah.
think that I'd rather not just make some false maneuver.
Right,
I'd rather have the guidance of how do you approach somebody, and maybe so we were talking, there's Cape Associates was there, and one of the workers was talking to us. Oh yeah, he knows about the easement, but he doesn't really know. He knows that there's some sort of easement, but he doesn't really know anything about it.
right.
So they never went and looked up the fact that this property had this easement, and here's this land court document right here that they could have very easily found.
Yeah,
But they've only had it for like 2 years,
right.
so.
Okay.
I think meet with town council and have Harry present because he was involved in writing the original easement, and that would be useful perhaps.
Okay,
I spoke with Rich Waldo. He says that access to town council will have to go through him. So I think we should maybe we have to talk to him first.
yeah. That makes sense. I think that's the policy.
Would you repeat that, Melissa? I didn't quite get it. You're saying that we have to go through town administrator to get to the council? Town council?
Yeah, he's said that whatever we would like to request, we have to have a conversation with him.
Okay. Well, I can put together a letter, I think, and tell them what the situation is and address to the town administrator, I guess.
Yeah.
And say it looks like we need town council and some guidance on what to do next. That sound good to everybody?
Sounds good.
Especially
Yep,
since
and maybe-
since I volunteered.
Right.
Melissa, and maybe when you are talking about a budget, your budget is basically, I mean, it seems to me you're going to need, in many of these situations, access to town council. So maybe maybe your budget covers some of that access.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an idea.
Do we have a budget?
No,
We don't, but the TA is aware that we need one.
I think we should get some ideas ready for the next town meeting.
Mhm.
good idea. Okay. Have we done that one in? Next item is taking custody of parcels.
I think I put that on the agenda because I was wondering about what we were gonna do with the sand pullout.
Mm,
But if we have an easement over the property, it's not necessary to hash this one over again. I think we can keep it in our back pocket and maybe think it over. I feel like we're a pretty new committee and I don't know how necessary it is for us to tackle this one just yet.
Okay. So we'll postpone that. Anything else before we adjourn?
I have one announcement.
Okay.
First of all, I admire you guys for thinking proactively about taking custody of parcels to ensure public access. And I think it's a good idea to just keep in the back of your minds as you operate. I was impressed with that. And then I just wanted to let you know that I spoke with Audubon today and they are planning on filling in the hole, the puddle, and access to, let's just call it Silver Spring Harbor by the end of the month of September.
Okay.
And they've worked with the Conservation Commission. They're sourcing sands from locally from Brewster Sand and Gravel. And it just seems like it's totally on target so that when that area opens on October 1st, the puddle will be filled in.
Great. Good. Thank you.
Yep.
And Brewster Sand and Gravel are nice people to deal with.
Oh,
I've
good.
dealt with them.
Excellent.
2 women, I think, own it. I don't know. And actually, it's called BSG. It's not in Brewster, it's in Easton.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny.
Anyway, I got a whole pile of topsoil from them and a whole pile of stone dust, I think they call it. Well, that's good news. I'd like to know actually the date so I could take some pictures of it.
So what they're gonna do is let me know with at least a week's notice because
good.
they will be where we decided they would stage the sand will block access for that 4-hour period that it will take them to do the work. So I just want to let the shellfishing community know because that area is actually open for clamming. Nobody really uses it right now, but I'd want to at least let people know that it was happening and that they wouldn't be able to get down there that day. So we'll have about a week's notice and I'll make sure to let the Rights to Public Access Committee know.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
John, were you
Okay.
going to say something?
I'm sorry, what, Melissa?
I think John wanted to say something.
John?
It's a personal announcement. My wife and I have moved to Scarborough, Maine, which is something for several years we've been looking forward to. Sold our house in Wellfleet. So with some regret, I'm no longer eligible to be on this committee. And so I have to resign. There are only 3 of you now, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm impressed with the strength of the committee and some good discussions. I'll try to stay in touch, listen in, but it's been a good couple of years. I think we've made a lot of progress. You can see things happening at Lieutenant Island, which we've worried about for some time, and it's actually turned into things. So
Okay.
all the best, and I regret having to do this, but life moves on. So I will.
Well, congratulations, John.
Make a formal. I'll write a formal letter at some point.
Yeah.
We hope you'll keep tuning in. You're a
Yes.
wonderful asset. Thank you for all your hard work.
You know, thank you very much. It's a good team, so I look forward to hearing how things are going.
Good. If you could think of any other people we might put on the committee, let us know.
Okay. Fair charge.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Second. I vote A.
Hey,
Hi.
Melissa? Okay, and John. Okay.
good.
Well, thank you, everybody. And you know how to turn off the recording?
Yes. Thank you.
I'm glad
Thank
you
you,
were here, Nancy.
Happy to help.